right, we are back here with game number one of our TvT SpeCial versus ByuN, and we got a couple of stuff that went on here so far. So ByuN opting to go for only a single gas opening, playing it out a lot more economic, only a single Reaper, and went in with a SCV Scout, where SpeCial, doing the safer bet of going for that double gas, going for more Reapers, and trying to go in with Hellions as well, seeing if you can get some massive economic damage done over on the other side of the map against ByuN. We are gonna have to see. ByuN definitely gonna be having the better economy earlier on, with the second base much quicker. But their 1-1-1 does finish at about the same time.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I mean, so to remind the people, or I guess to catch everyone up, essentially, we were having some stream issues, so we decided to restart the stream, restart the PC. Now we are back. Of course, I didn't quite make it into game one, but Yaku, of course, he did. We are screen sharing, and we are in this TvT. And this is a bit of a treat. We don't get too many TvTs here.
Yeah, especially not with ByuN and SpeCial. Who I feel like are players who sign up separately, but they never quite face one another. SpeCial coming in with a very aggressive force of these Hellions and these Reapers. ByuN, okay, I liked his positioning there with the Marines, but SpeCial just at way too much DPS to really deal with.
Yeah, and ByuN, he recognizes that, so he immediately evacuates the natural. He pulled his mules and his workers up into the high ground to make sure he was able to repair his Hellion and stay alive. And now, I don't know if he went down a little bit prematurely. We'll see if he's able to push the SpeCial back.
And he does for the time being. He has a lot of Marines, but the thing about Marines is they can very much be kited by Hellions and by Reapers. Not quite going to be able to take out that force, but going to be able to deflect it quite a bit. SpeCial trying to come in. Oh.
Does call for does call for a bit of a pause there, and yeah, we'll see. Again, SpeCial, he's streaming his POV, correct?
I believe so. He just thanked someone for a sub.
So I imagine so.
Chat.
Yeah. So I don't know if maybe like some food came or something along those lines. Hopefully it isn't too serious. Again, if you do want to tune in to SpeCial's POV, he is currently streaming over on his Twitch channel. And yeah, again, hopefully everything's okay and we don't see like a patience play where he forfeits or something or calls the game.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Definitely fingers crossed. Does have a bit of a delay, though, as I believe that's actually in the rules for ESL. You do have to have that delay if you're going to be streaming a point of view. And, I mean, even if it's not a rule, it's generally good to have. You don't want to... Sure, stream ghosting or stream sniping is not allowed in the rules, but you can prevent that very much by putting on a significant delay, like say 2-3 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. So we're just kind of waiting to make sure that everything's okay with SpeCial. You know what I have the power to quickly open up his stream and see what's going on. It better not be like a Jim Rising play where he's like dancing or something for someone's donation and he's like, wait,
I would not be surprised.
Interesting.
What?
Oh no, SpeCial! No.
What is going on?
I'm just screaming.
So I thought I tried to tune into a stream and I got a buffer and I assumed that was because I was streaming on Discord, but I guess not. Oh, SpeCial.
Yeah. So did I.
Crossed.
Like I went over to SpeCial stream as well, and his stream was down, and we do see that he must have lost internet connection, like just overall.
Yeah, I guess maybe there was a ping issue or a little bit of lag for him. So that's for a quick little pause, and then this is now happening.
Yeah. I'm actually curious. Did Armani sign up today? He did.
He did.
Yeah. Oh.
Wait. So does that mean Armani is also
that's what I was about to ask. I was like, yo, I hope this isn't affecting Armani. And just quickly checking, it looks like it may have, depending on how that series turned out. I did quickly check !B in the chat. Armani, he got knocked out 1-2 to DRG.
Dang. I mean, that's definitely a CBC to watch regardless. But dang, that was that's a series. Okay, SpeCial now confirming his internet did die. Always appreciate ByuN with the with the emotion coming out.
Yeah, but it looks like SpeCial was able to reconnect. It looks like maybe things are okay. I'm sure he's probably doing some internet tests to make sure that it's stable, everything is good, and here we go.
Yeah, we are getting back in this game. All right. So after a bit of a delay like that, you gotta wonder how it sort of affects the players. I mean, definitely SpeCial. He's probably a little bit on edge, just trying to hoping anyway that his internet still continues on. But ByuN may have just taken the time to just sort of think, get a bit of get out of the tunnel vision if he had it earlier on, and just have a bit of an aerial view of the game, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, there wasn't anything too crazy going on. Again, we are still in the early stages of the game. Speaking of which, SpeCial, he is coming in here with his with his Banshee, but there is a Raven, there's a Cyclone, so it does get taken out.
Yeah, I mean, able to take out a couple of SCVs, and honestly, whatever damage you can get to in a mirror matchup, right, is gonna stack up. But SpeCial was definitely hoping for more, especially with that Reaper coming in from the side, trying to go for a multi-prong.
Yeah, he was hoping to catch his opponent off guard, maybe pull away the attention of ByuN to the natural so he can sneak into the main, or vice versa. But ByuN, he had his army split up. He was ready for it. He took it out. The Raven! No!
You get the Raven!
Oh,
the Raven is getting low. SpeCial trying to take it out of his own Hellion or Reaper, but with the auto turret will be enough to keep that Raven alive. And ByuN even forced to throw down an auto turret. So SpeCial definitely going to have the energy advantage when it comes to this Raven. ByuN now splitting up his army. He's going to have to be a little bit more active with his Marines here, trying to prevent that Raven from coming in.
Yeah, definitely. Again, there is an opportunity here for the Ravens to go in and interference matrix and shut down one of those tanks. But, SpeCial he only has one tank of his own, and he has to be careful here not to be too overconfident with his Raven.
Yeah, that he definitely does. Just trying to save up energy so he can get two of those tanks at the same time. ByuN sending in a bit of a spotter Marine. Ooh, that's a little overkill. I do say so myself.
Yeah, the Marine does go down, and I love this, utilizing his air advantage, able to come in here with the Liberator, forces the unsiege of ByuN. He does back off, but only lost the Marine. No damage to his tanks.
Yeah, very much so. ByuN is going to get backed into a corner, though. Vikings coming out, though. And that will give him the aerial superiority. Don't lose the Raven. Okay, the Raven still lives.
Yeah, for both players.
And the Liberator is going to be pushed back. Stim has finished for ByuN, so he does have a bit of a timing to utilize, as SpeCial's is still quite a ways off.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like SpeCial, he kind of invested his gas or his production to get those Liberators out quickly, trying to find like this cheeky opening where he can utilize them. But ByuN, he already had Vikings in production, and with them, these Liberators are not going to be able to do too much in terms of sieging on top of those tanks. So we do see that SpeCial, he's splitting them off, looking to try and harass with them.
Yeah, that he is on a couple of different sides, trying to go into the main with one of his Liberators here and utilize the rest of his army to push in from a bit of a different angle. The Raven goes down for ByuN, but it will also go down for SpeCial. A lot of auto turrets come out, but there were enough Marines and there were enough tanks here that it wasn't too big of a deal. ByuN right now with the tank advantage, but lost so many of his Marines.
Yeah, exactly.
Meanwhile, in the main base,
yeah, ByuN, he did lose a couple of Marines in the main and in the natural, as both Liberators were set up, but it looks like they were both cleaned up in the end, and SpeCial does back off. SpeCial, like, he does have the, a bit of a worker lead, he does have 10 ahead of his opponent, but in a TvT, in a mirror matchup, in like this mirror matchup specifically, I don't know if it's the biggest of deals, because again, as long as you have like these solid tank lines, it can be a little bit difficult to really, capitalize on those advantages and push in.
Yeah, I mean, you want that economic advantage to have a larger, better army quicker, but as you said, that's not the only factor that comes in when it comes to a TvT. There's also so much when it comes to positioning, right? When it comes to the actual ratios of the units. Do I have enough Vikings? Do I have enough Liberators? Have I overmade tanks or not?
Yeah, exactly. And we do see SpeCial, he's trying to go for a drop. He is avoiding that sensor tower, as the sensor tower is only covering the upper portion of ByuN's bases. It looks like a missile turret is on the way, but it may finish up just in time. SpeCial, he's waiting a little bit.
Yeah, that gives ByuN quite a bit of time. There is only one missile turret, though. And there's 2 full health medevacs that go right onto up on the mineral line here of ByuN. And chases just about everything back. ByuN now being forced to pull all his entire army to deal with this. And meanwhile, SpeCial already getting ready with another force, trying to hit the natural base.
Yeah, exactly. And 19 SCVs go down due to these drops. At the same time, SpeCial is pushing up into the natural. ByuN was forced to bring his entire army into the main base, and it looks like SpeCial, it's taking him a little bit longer to set up with his main army, but ByuN, he's just lost so many workers this game.
That he very much so has. And you were saying that maybe having a worker deficit isn't as detrimental in a TvT, but yeah, when it's that massive, it's definitely starts being detrimental.
Definitely, we'll see. As against SpeCial, he's finding a hard time to really find any kind of angle to really abuse or find an opportunity here to push into the natural or the third base of ByuN. So he's kind of posturing in the center of the map at the moment. Meanwhile, he's just working on his upgrades. To be fair, both of them are, they're both macroing up, eventually working on their fourth bases as well.
Yeah, but SpeCial is going to be the player who gets it a lot quicker. He has already gotten the momentum on his side. He just needs to make sure that ByuN isn't going to be able to stall him. And he is doing a pretty good job of that. I mean, being very active on the map right now, making sure that his macro is on point so that ByuN can't sort of surprise him with a quick lead. I mean, he's already starting to even up on the worker count.
Yeah, and you know what? The Venn diagrams have been drawn. Like, we do see ByuN, he's just hurtling up, making sure he has vision, making sure some kind of big doom drop doesn't, get into his main base and cause a bunch of economic damage like it did previously. And same with SpeCial, we also see his towers going down. So, Yaku, strap yourself in. We could be in for a long one, depending on how these armies trade here in the center. They are posturing around each other.
Yeah, that we are a little bit of a game of cat and mouse, or chicken rather, if you will. Neither player really wanting to engage into another with all of these tank lines, but ByuN, he's going to be the first player to start breaking that stalemate as he goes for double tech labbed starports with Corvid.
Okay.
With
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, we're talking Mass Raven right now, and we saw a lot of this in the TvT that we casted last night. I casted it with Claire, TvT Azure versus Seether in the Oceanic region, and this is exactly what Seether did. He first prioritized dominance over the skies, and then went Mass Raven and just rained down auto turrets all over the tanks of Azure. So we'll see if ByuN is going to be looking to do the same.
Yeah, but I think a key difference is that ByuN does not quite have that dominance in the air count right now. He is 5 Vikings versus 11.
Yeah.
That's kind of important.
He has a ways to go, definitely. And we'll see if he decides to transition as quickly as he can into that sky, mech army, focusing on his ship weapon upgrades and eventually going into BCs after those Ravens. I love that he's investing in those Raven upgrades, but we'll see if we get there. We don't want to get too ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, Thor is now out for ByuN. This gives him a bit of a longer range way to deal with some of these. Vikings. All right, could have been a massive doom drop, but yeah, SpeCial just going to be backing away, making sure that he doesn't take any unnecessary risks, doesn't throw away his lead here. ByuN coming in with a pretty huge drop.
Yeah, he's just waiting outside the sensor tower range of SpeCial, looking for an opportunity. He scans, he sees the army, though, at the third base, so he opts not to go for it, does back off in the end.
Yeah, instead, going to be content with a single supply depot and just keeping a decent chunk of SpeCial's army back.
Yeah, that he does. Meanwhile, SpeCial, he's looking for the army because he was aware of it. He was aware that this massive drop was there.
But underestimating the green count here for SpeCial, or either that or overestimating his ability to start a step, draws them right into tank fire, though.
Oh, that he does. And again, not too much really happening here. ByuN, he committed a little bit too much, but at the end of the day, he lost Marines, and, they're kind of expendable at this stage of the game.
Yeah, they are very much so. Literally the cheapest army unit for Terran. So you can afford to let those go. This sword really pulling its weight on this Liberator. The Vikings helping out as well, and a tank, not a single tank, actually went down in this current line for ByuN.
No, yeah, that Raven count is getting higher. 4 so far out for ByuN, 2 more on the way. He is not stopping that starport production. And I mean, I feel like SpeCial at some point he's got to take note of the high Raven count and try, you know, to take back air superiority and try and counter that.
Yeah, well, he will be looking for air superiority anyway, as he does want to invest in. He does want to invest in his Liberators at the moment. Only a single tank here for defense, but the SimCity is good enough that ByuN does not want to take too many tank volleys. He's gonna back away, load up his Marines, and try to go for a drop, but there are already missile turrets out.
Yeah, there are already missile turrets in play, and we'll see if ByuN commits to this, and he does.
Yes. Losing one medevac and loses another with a lot of Marines as well. Does manage to drop a decent amount of Marines though, and he's trying to go for these starports. Oh, he's actually going to be able to get it. But was that worth it though?
Yeah.
3 medevacs full of Marines.
I mean, again, to be fair, like Marines, we were talking about it, they are expendable, like they aren't the biggest of deals, as long as you have enough Marines to cover your own tanks, right? Like that's the important part. You don't want to leave them naked and vulnerable for your opponent's Marines to just stim on forward and push through.
Yeah, you definitely don't. And to be fair, SpeCial did also keep a couple of his Marines back, you know, as both for defense and for this active force. Now loading up, trying to go into natural base. And not a lot of anti-air here for ByuN.
Yeah, not at all. And it looks like we are going to be seeing a drop. And meanwhile, at the same time, ByuN is going to be able to deny one of the bases of SpeCial. And SpeCial, this drop, oh, we'll see if he gets an engineering bay.
And not quite able to at the moment. A lot of our turrets go down. That eBay is getting lower and lower, but will be dealt with. ByuN just really needs to repair that, though.
He really does. He has to be careful. Meanwhile, at the same time, SpeCial, we do see all his tanks are rotating down to the south, but they don't get there in time. We do see all these Ravens coming in to support, and SpeCial, he himself has realized what is happening, and he is trying to transition into Ravens with those upgrades with that double starport production.
Yeah, and he will eventually be able to get those out. I am just in shock of what we're seeing here. Like, when was the last time, other than last night, you saw a Mass Raven play coming out?
It was a thing where like it was explained to us, like Cetho and Azure, how this is the meta of TvT and how it's evolved. And now like Mass Raven was a thing back when I believe they had a different ability, like the Hunter Seeker missile and things of that nature.
It was back when anti-armor missile did damage.
Yeah, back in, I believe it was, like, that was back in early Wings of Liberty. I'm sorry, Legacy of the Void. But yeah, now it's coming back into play just in TvT in a bit of a different fashion, but are we going to get there? It looks like SpeCial is pushing it again at the 4th.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to completely take out those tanks, and sure, ByuN, he's got a lot of Ravens, he's got a lot of auto-turret potential, but that's still a very healthy Marine count coming out from SpeCial. There is no easy way for ByuN to deal with those tanks or those Marines.
Yeah. Again, like it, you know, we do see almost every single tank getting anti-armor, interference matrix, and even the anti-armor being thrown down.
Yeah, with a lot more auto turrets, and somehow SpeCial just completely lost that attack. How many tanks did he have pushing in there? How many Marines? All of them taken out.
Exactly, and that's what I'm talking about. He only lost one of his Ravens throughout all of that, and this is what TvT has become. It's all about the Ravens, and then eventually into those BCs. And ByuN, he's gotten to that point where he's happy with his Raven count. Now he's starting to get into the BCs.
Yeah, gonna have quite a bit of a head start here, which can absolutely turn tight. Or be the decider for ByuN.
Yeah, definitely, and we'll see what SpeCial's able to do as all these Marines, it looks like he's getting quite a bit of value. These tanks, once again, naked, able to get 2 of them.
Oh, he might actually get a CC. He might actually get a CC, but not quite going to be able to get that. These Marines are still alive and still looking to do damage. But the BC is out. ByuN doesn't quite want to reveal his hand yet, though. So we just have to be content with those Marines getting out of there.
Yeah, like, I mean, especially he's gotten so much value out of these guys. Like, I'm very impressed with what he's been able to do. But we've talked about it before. Like, does it really matter how much he's been able to do with these Marines? Like, they've both got pretty comparable worker counts. Like, again, the army that really matters is going to be here in the skies with the BCs. Oh, even getting more tanks.
Yeah, Stims right on top of them. There was no buffer available for ByuN, and we'll be able to get a planetary as well. That's a very expensive loss for ByuN.
Oh yeah, incredibly expensive, and we're getting to the point where like SpeCial, because he's had so much freedom on his side of the map, like he's slowly expanding, his economy is looking so much smoother. ByuN, he's just losing bases. He needs to expand a little bit further, maybe head over to the northern edges of the map. But it's important to note that he does have that head start in terms of the BCs, in terms of the Ravens. Like I think overall his main army is looking a little bit stronger.
Yeah, it definitely is for the
Oof.
time being anyway.
Yeah.
Again, in TvT, it can very much so come down to positional plays. You know, if one player decides to pull the trigger a little better, or if one player even just starter steps better with Marines. But we'll see how it goes down. A lot of missile turrets coming here on the anti-armor, on the air army. That is absolutely key here for SpeCial. The BC's already going down, mostly to Marines, I want to point out.
Yeah,
And these disabled tanks going to be taken out.
yeah, and at the end of the
Event-
day, like the player with the Marines ends up winning this engagement. Like there were just enough Marines to survive, to power through all of the auto towers. And sure, there were all these Vikings, but mate, the Vikings they did not shoot down.
No, they do not. He could have tried to land them, but without smart servos, they were just sitting ducks there. And funnily enough, Light, you got a fun fact. Neither player has Ravens anymore.
Neither player has Ravens. ByuN, he's got 4 BCs, and I guess they realized that, yo, we lost a lot of Ravens. Time to build them up again.
Yep, time to go back home. We'll meet back in 15 minutes. Just get everything back. But ByuN actually is still dedicated to getting these BCs out. He doesn't quite want to go mass Raven again.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much. And I just love how SpeCial is still committing to the bio. Like he realizes the value that these Marines have when it comes to the battle in the skies, right? Marines, man with gun, they're pretty good anti-air.
Yeah, what is the counter to anything? Believe it or not, Marines.
Oh, meanwhile, the main armies are clashing here towards the south, but there are tanks in position this time. The Marines, they can't push through.
No, they cannot. They can get a little bit of damage done, take out maybe a tank or two, but they really cannot survive too many volleys from the tanks. And ByuN, he's got a lot of missile turrets here, but not quite spread out. This BC just looking to really apply pressure. Meanwhile, ByuN's BC is coming back in, and he does not have recall available on them here, or teleport, I should say.
Oh, he does not. He used them earlier, but you know what? Because of this deader, he may be able to escape. It looks like he will lose 1 BC.
Yeah, but guess what? The rest of the Vikings are coming down and looking to really punish this. Yamato, nowhere near complete for ByuN. In fact, he's only now getting it. SpeCial, with the very, very superior air army, is looking to leverage this. And ByuN, I fear that he's maybe spread out a little bit too thin.
Yeah.
The rest of ByuN's is coming in, though.
It is, but the problem is that even if he wins the battle in the sky, is there enough on the ground? That's the big question. It looks like the majority of the Marines.
Like there is.
There is. They do go down. The BCs reign supreme for ByuN as he cleans everything up.
The Ravens are coming in here trying to put a stop to that with another couple of Marine reinforcements. ByuN has lost all of his tanks in this location. So he's gonna have to be so careful. But the Marine count really starting to thin out, really utilizing the dead air here for the BC's ByuN is.
Exactly, and again, the BCs, they take out all the Marines. Now it's just naked tanks. He's up by 1 in terms of the BCs. Auto turret gets thrown down, but it looks like there's just too much here from ByuN. And SpeCial, he just lost so much supply, down 40 supply. And now can he start to gain a little bit of momentum here and actually start attacking these bases?
Well, he's looking to find it. Once again, going for this base, and there is a warp available for ByuN. He will have to use it a little bit quicker this time, though, as these BCs are pretty low in health. There we go, just blinks away, content with 5 SCVs taken out.
Yeah, but
and that's just 5 SCVs that SpeCial is going to have to remake that, he's not making a different, or he's not spending his resources to use a different, to get Marines for. And that's pretty important because SpeCial has no bank.
He does not have a bank, and what's scary is that ByuN, he's maxed out. He's getting ready to push out once again. He has the higher BC count. He has all these Marines, these tanks, looking to maybe again try and deal with one of these CCs, because SpeCial, like it feels like ByuN hasn't really been able to stop this economy that SpeCial has available to him. Even SpeCial blocking that CC to the north with the supply depot.
Yeah, I think that is the main I think that is the main factor here that we got to look out for. You know,
Mm.
ByuN, he does have this really good bank. He is maxed out, but he does not quite have the income compared to SpeCial. Now he's taking the advantage because
Yeah.
he pulled all of these SCVs off of
And again, because
the base,
ByuN,
but
yeah, because ByuN was so passive, SpeCial bought enough time. Now he himself is maxed out, right? Like I'm not too sure what it is, but ByuN, he's being very tentative with his army. Like he's very like opposed to pushing out, and because of that, like this is as close as it is.
well, he does have a fairly immobile army. I want to say, sure, a lot of it is in the air, but I mean, Vikings are not the fastest air unit, right? Neither are BCs. Maybe that's the reason.
Maybe. I mean, SpeCial, as opposed to that, he has a very mobile army with all these Marines, so he's looking to try and deny bases, trying to, you know, hit the north, hit the south, wherever the BCs are not. But that does also mean that SpeCial's main army is a little bit weaker, and we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, we will have to keep our eyes on that. As both players really starting to just leverage across the map,
Yeah.
placing down as many missile turrets as he can, just so he can get as much of an edge as possible.
I was
in
about
the
to
air
say, this is like, ByuN is playing like a late game Zerg. Like right now, he's like throwing away SCVs, he doesn't want them, and he's basically making a spore forest. Like he's got missile turrets all over the place, and it feels like he only wants to fight with missile turrets with his main army.
Yeah. If only Zerg also had sensor towers. All right, really good anti-armor missile here. And the air army of ByuN should just about be taken out thanks to the Vikings and thanks to the Marines. But here come the rest of ByuN's Marines, and SpeCial, he ain't sieged.
Yeah, he is not sieged. The reinforcements do arrive, but anti-armor missile does blanket everything for ByuN, and it looks like there may be enough here. ByuN is able to push away the army of SpeCial.
Yeah, if only just barely, but
Yeah.
he did take the much better engagement there. Look at the supply difference. ByuN once again with that lead, but I think we're going back to that same old question. What is ByuN going to do with his lead?
He's gonna stay at home and make missile turrets.
Well, you know, may as well.
That's what it feels like. It feels like he just that's all he wants to do. We'll see. I mean, I hope ByuN proves me wrong. I hope he decides to finally push out once he gets maxed out again. Like this is the second time this has happened where he like decisively wins a battle, he maxes out, and then he waits like 2-3 minutes and then SpeCial attacks again, you know? It's like, we'll see if ByuN can do something, especially because BCs can teleport, right? Like you can just send them all across the map, deal some damage. If things get a little bit too crazy, then you can teleport back home.
Yeah, I feel like ByuN right now is just playing like a calculator. He's just thinking, what is the DPS that I need in this particular moment, and how do I achieve that? I must. ByuN is data, is what I'm trying to say.
You've been watching a lot of Star Trek, haven't you?
I have. I'm on the 4th season now.
Nice. Well done. And oh boy, like it's a bit of a shame again. We are aware of all the stuttering going on right now. I mean, what do you expect when both players have all these Marines, right? Like there's plenty of stutter stepping going on. And it just so happens to be in game 1 where they're on Romanticide, which is the most macro map of all the maps in the map pool. And it's like, of course, mate, we're gonna be in for a long one. It's been 30 minutes already.
Yes, strap yourselves in, strap everybody in. But thankfully, there is a lot of action still going on around the map as both players are just trying to take economic leads. This is very much going to be a game of resources from here on out, and both players are just trying to get that slight edge. Both players are just trying to find a way to outmine their opponent.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're trying to do, and we do see a lot of economic damage being done as, you know, at the same time, ByuN, he is attacking over to the southern base of SpeCial here with his Marines in the center as well, trying to focus down the CCs, and yeah, ByuN, he's finally utilizing that massive supply advantage that he has.
Yeah, completely able to take out that CC and all of the SCVs in the other base. That's a lot of disables. And this allows a SpeCial come in with superior Marine count and clear that out. ByuN is going to have to back away from that, but he still has quite a good amount of defenses out. He has he has 8 tanks. I just realized that SpeCial only on 2 at the moment.
Exactly. Like ByuN, he was able to kill a CC to the south. He was able to kill all the SCVs in the center. He's still killing SCVs. These BCs, there's been no answer from SpeCial because SpeCial just doesn't have enough army. He just doesn't have enough units to deal with all this aggression from ByuN.
No, he does not. This planetary should be going down. This SCV's coming in with the clutch repair.
Oh, it looks like he's just going to be able to repair. Exactly, and you know
Interference
what?
Matrix just a bit too late.
Yeah, and we've just learned that it doesn't matter if you interference matrix the BC, if it's already teleported, the teleport does complete. He does manage to escape in the end. And now SpeCial, he's hurting a little bit. You know, he's down in terms of the economy. He still has a decent army. He can still make something happen. I would avoid a head-on engagement though, like try and find, you know, a bit of damage on one of the fringe bases.
Yeah, that's, well, I would say that's definitely the case for both players. I feel like they've really teched into armies that are really good at defeat in detail, essentially. They can't face each other head on, because then that's just a massive risk, right? Then it's anyone's game, essentially. These SCVs, I thought those SCVs were going to kill that tank. I swear, I really thought that's what was going to happen.
It's like, oh
but
my
no,
god,
ByuN had some tanks in range.
Yeah, the flanking SCVs, they gotta get on top of the tank, and I mean the tank died anyway, but the SCVs, they are there just to throw down more missile turrets. This is ByuN style. Meanwhile, at the same time, we have finally all these BCs being active across the map. We're going to be able to clear out another entire mineral line, and once again, if things get a little bit too crazy, he should be able to teleport out, and he does. Ooh,
yeah, only two of these BCs will be taken out. And now, oh, this is such a pin though for SpeCial. Gonna be taking out so many Marines. And sure, Marines are a little expendable, but ByuN, I mean, only making 10 at a time at the moment. And I mean, okay, it's funny to say that. Only making 10 Marines at a time.
Only 10 at a time. I mean, they both have equal production in terms of Raxes, and we'll see. Again, both players are still maxed out. Sure, ByuN has a couple more SCVs, but at this stage of the game, it doesn't really matter because you have mules, right? You want to get rid of some SCVs at some point. You want to focus on that army supply, but SpeCial, he's just sharking around. He can't quite find an angle here. But what they are doing is that they are denying each other's bases, right? Like the two corner bases, the bottom left and the top right, they just haven't been taken. They can't be taken.
I'm not convinced the top right base has ever been mined. A single mineral has even been taken from there. And here it comes. This is why ByuN had all of those missile turrets, because he wanted to deal with the Ravens, and most of them have been taken out. ByuN still with the massive Raven count, going to be able to anti-armor the majority of this army, but the Marines stand supreme. ByuN trying to utilize positioning, trying to utilize the dead air as much as he can to deal with them. But but SpeCial, with the massive Marine count, is pushing through. Look at the supply, though. Every time SpeCial loses a Marine, it's better and better for ByuN.
Exactly, and I'm just waiting for ByuN to land those Vikings to help deal with the Marines. There we go. He lands the Vikings, cleans everything up. SpeCial, he just lost so much.
GG is called. ByuN, so patient, trying to win that war of attrition. He pulled the trigger, or rather didn't pull the trigger, very early on. He looked very much ahead. He knew he had to win an economic battle. He knew he had to win that war of attrition. And everything he did from there on out was to get to that point. And in the end, paying off so well. GG. That was game number 1.
That was game number 1. And again, I apologize that it was game 1 where we had to have that screen share, but I mean, you know, it did kind of fit with the TvT with all the Marines stuttering. But hopefully the video should be perfectly fine here on moving forward. Hopefully there are no crashes. I did restart my PC. Hopefully that did solve any kind of issues that were had. We shall see, fingers crossed, as we are going to be getting ready for game number 2 in this TvT.
Yeah, they got a fun fact for you, like, we're in another TvT after this, as Dream has defeated Solar to make it to the semifinals. I had to double check because I was like, wait, which was the third player that Dream was up against?
Oh my god, that's pretty amazing. Again, like, TvTs are a bit of a treat here. It's typically, when it comes to ESL Open Cup Asia, it's all about the PvPs, but we are having none of that here. It's nothing but Terrans, as here we go. Game 2 is gonna be on Pillars of Gold.
I think that's the first time we're seeing it tonight.
I believe so.
Yeah. We will. Oh, another update here. Quite a bit of an upset, if I do say so myself. Zaun, or ByuN, taking out Dark 2-1. Will be going to the semifinals to face DRG. And if you're looking to watch that, it will be covered over by Mid Crystal, at twitch.tv/theanimation dude. We are going to continue with this TvT though, going into the other TvT semifinals.
Exactly. So again, very impressive. Zaun was able to take out Dark, someone who is in form. Like, he has won 2 ESL Open Cups in the previous weeks, not last week, but again, like, he has been looking quite in form. He even made it to the finals, but not this week. Zaun had something to say about that.
That he definitely did. And Zaun, man, I mean, we just mentioned it earlier on, just looking decently solid in all the matchups, but didn't quite expect him to take it all the way to Dark. But that is a different story. That is a very different matchup with very different players, as now we are on Pillars of Gold LE. Not sure what it's holding up. I don't think it's holding up much anymore. Here in the bottom right-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the red Terran player coming down from the land of Korea. Finally, we're able to cast him once again on the ESL Open Cup Asia. Such patient play coming out from him in game number 1. Let's see if he replicates it. Gonna be currently teamless. We have ByuN.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Pillars of Gold LE, we have the Mexican Terran player, the blue Terran, currently representing Team Exxon. It is SpeCial.
And I gotta say, late game, that's not necessarily what I expected out of ByuN. I mean, I know he's capable of it. I've watched his streams a couple of times where he does just default into patient play and just try to win a war of attrition. But when you think of ByuN, you normally think of more of a mid-game type of player, early to mid-game type of player.
Yeah,
somebody who tries to go for these counter attack or timing attacks rather, and make the most of them with his micro.
Yeah, definitely. I think you could probably say that about both of these players, to be honest. Like, SpeCial is also about those timing attacks. But like, you could argue that because that's the style of these two players, like, they kind of cancel each other out. They are forced into this more longer macro game. And I hope you get used to it again. I know it's your first time seeing like that air. I almost said sky toss, like that air, like Terran army, juke it out, and it's something that's become a little bit more popular, at least in the late game of this matchup. And I mean, in general, we don't see it too often, so it's great to see.
It's great to see the meta shift there. It absolutely is. I think it was a period in time for TvT where, I mean, I feel like a lot of players just thought, okay, I need to be like TY, or I need to be like Maru, right? Where I need to just be a little bit more out there, and there isn't really a stable meta necessarily. I mean, sure, you still have your building blocks, like, okay, good to go Marines, and then eventually go into my late game. It's some kind of sky toss, but it was really anyone's game, right? Whether you just want to go mass Viking Liberator, or whether you want to go into those BCs. It's interesting that we're seeing these Ravens to the BCs.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting that that's where we've come. That's where things have evolved, and we'll see if we get more of that here on Pillars of Gold. Again, like, I expected the longest game to be on Romanticide. It does favor that, you know, more macro-oriented style. We'll see if they can do so on some of these other maps, or if they go for more of these timing attacks and things kind of settle and end in the mid-game instead.
Well, I can tell you one thing. Pillars of Gold, it's a little bit more difficult to split the map. The bases are just more connected, I would say. And you have this I don't really want to call it no man's land in the middle of the map, but it's a very wide open area that I think both players are gonna try to utilize. You know, try to get the drop on each one another's tanks, try to get some surrounds or concaves with the Marines. ByuN gonna be the first player to go right across the map, picking up a tank and some Marines.
Yeah, boy, he's looking to head across the map, siege up on that low ground, and I imagine try and deal some damage here. We'll see how he utilizes this map. Oh, it does get spotted by the Hellion.
Yeah, boosting straight for it. He knows that this is pretty much his only shot. And, you know, the funny thing is, this is pretty low supply, but considering the state of the game, you can kind of consider this to be a bit of a doom drop. Yeah, very good use of the position here with the tank.
Exactly, and with this, he will at least be able to kill one of these depots. We'll see if he can do some more damage, as this Cyclone is looking pretty low.
Yeah, very quickly going to get repaired. Tank is in position to deal with the barracks, and the Marines are looking to aid them as well. Now a Hellion is trying to harass the tank, though. I don't think it's going to do too much. But with the Raven and with the Cyclone, this is going to be the end of the push here for ByuN.
It wasn't just the end of the push. Everything got cleaned up there. ByuN, he was trying to escape with what he had, but the medevac went down, the Marines went down, the tank was caught sieged, and it all got cleaned up.
Yeah, that it did. And a tank, 4 Marines, and a medevac in exchange for 1 depot. Yeah, that's pretty expensive, but I guess it's something you can get away with on Pillars of Gold. ByuN is well aware that Special does not want to push out anytime soon. He knows that you can't really counterattack in these low supply scenarios, because what are you going to do when you go up against a single tank with that little Marines?
Yeah, like I imagine ByuN would have wanted to deal some more damage, or at least, you know, deal the damage that he did and gotten out safely. So I will say that Special does have a little bit of an advantage here, you know, being able to deflect and you know, be a little bit more efficient. But at the same time, ByuN, he is going across with his Raven and actually, you know, getting a couple of SCVs.
Yeah, a couple of SCVs. I think ideally for ByuN, it will pull the army back to Special, but Special, he's going straight forward. He has already gotten his Vikings out, and that just secures him the aerial superiority, honestly. That's all he needs to push out now into ByuN.
Definitely. He scans as well. He confirms the army. There's only 1 tank here, and he can get interference matrix. Oh, there's no energy. There's only enough energy for an auto turret at the moment.
That there is. Special now just posturing around, getting a little bit too deep into Marine territory with that Raven, but the rest of the Marines and the Viking even lands here just right, even more DPS. Tanks are starting to get caught. Though.
Yeah, all the tanks.
Just so many SCVs.
Yeah, they get surrounded. Meanwhile, the Vikings do land as well. There's only 1 tank and 1 Viking here for Special. It looks like ByuN, he may be able to clean it up, but the problem is
not if he gets flooded. Not if the tank is able to say anything about that, but the tank does go down.
Yeah, it does go down, but the problem is all those SCVs that ByuN lost. Like, he lost so many. To be fair, he does have a third, so he can attempt to replenish, and at the same time, like, he was harassing on the other side with that Raven.
Yeah, not quite equalizing on the worker count yet, but as you said, 3 CCs versus 2. ByuN has a lot more production available to him with these workers, and not only that, he has the mules to back him up. He actually has the income advantage on both minerals and gas at the moment.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, Special, he went for this big 2-base timing, emphasis on the 2-base because there is no third CC, there was none in production. And now that ByuN didn't die, ByuN, like, he's in a pretty good place, like, with that third CC for that triple SCV production. The fact that he was able to harass consistently with the Raven and kill a decent amount of workers, like, it's not bad.
It is more than not bad. That should have been a dead ByuN that we were looking at. But instead, he clawed himself back onto equal footing.
It's one of those things where, as a pro player, like, it can be so difficult to know when you need to pull your workers, when, like, you know, you're in a dire situation. And ByuN, he was on top of that. He pulled his workers. He lost a lot of SCVs, but because of, like, his opener, because he had 3 CCs, like, he's pretty much caught up. Like, the disparity is only 5 at the moment when it comes to the workers.
Yeah, and it's going to narrow and narrow out and narrow out and narrow out even further. It is very difficult to tell when you have to pull your workers, especially your SCVs, which is why at the first sign of trouble, I just go for it.
Exactly, and that's exactly.
I end up losing the engagements more often than not.
Oh god, but you know what, in the end ByuN was able to hold, but it looks like Special is getting ready for round 2. He's pushing out across the map once again, and it looks like the armies are kind of missing each other. ByuN, I was thinking maybe he was going to turn around. Okay, he does end up turning around in the end. Yeah,
scans that third base location and he realizes, didn't you have a lot of Vikings there earlier on?
Yeah,
where did they go?
Where's the armory at? I'm gonna go back. This isn't looking too good, and he does siege up, but oh, there is a Liberator in play.
There is a Liberator, and the Vikings are actually dealing with that. The Marines, though, that were landed right in, or rather put in the Liberation Zone, were able to take quite a bit of damage. It meant that there were quite a few volleys that ByuN was able to get off with that tank. And actually kind of evening it out. I mean, Special still has a bit of an advantage here. He still has the tank counts, and he's still continuing to rally Vikings and more tanks.
Yeah, he
but
is.
Again, ByuN somehow able to hold.
I mean, the problem is that sure, like, Special was rallying across the map, but ByuN does have the defender's advantage. He does have, you know, a much shorter distance for his production to really kick in, and that's exactly what he's doing. He kicks in and he cleans up Special's army.
This has just been an absolute mastery of understanding how the units interact with one another, I feel, from ByuN. He knew exactly, should I put my Marines in the Liberation Zone? Can I get away with putting them that close to tanks? Or, within the range of the tanks here, if it means that I can get my own tank volleys off on what SpeCial's got. In the end, turns out it was.
Yeah, exactly. Like every single time, like SpeCial, his pushes, both of these pushes that he's gone for, like they're meant to end the game. Like they're meant to kill his opponent. And against a lesser Terran, I'm sure he would have. But against ByuN, mate, ByuN, he just doesn't die. He doesn't want to. He doesn't believe it. He's already up 1-0 in this series. He wants to make it a 2-0. He is just so, I don't know how to put it, but he just knows exactly what he needs to do to hold on. And because of that, every single time he comes out with a slight advantage.
He does, whether it's in the army count or in the SCV count. Because again, ByuN has had the CC advantage for so long in this game, and he has been making use of it. Still a little behind on the worker count, but yeah, thanks to meals and whatnot, was able to get the income advantage for a while.
Yeah, definitely. And right now, what's important is that ByuN, he's sending 2 Marines across the map, and it looks like he will spot the 4th that is being made. So he's aware that SpeCial, he is looking to expand, looking to try and be a little bit greedy here. So now ByuN, he has a couple of options. He is getting his own 4th base, and he is looking to push out across the map.
That he is. He knows he has the advantage here in terms of the army count. So he's just looking to end that.
Oh, yeah, he is.
We're going to take another advantage, I should say.
Yeah.
But it's actually pretty good. Single Liberator pulling away that many Vikings.
This is like a significant amount of supply. Like this is the amount of like army that could be useful across the map with the main army, like it can kind of tip the scales in your favor, if you will, for ByuN. Meanwhile, he scans, he sees the lone tank, it looks so juicy, he wants to get in on it, but SpeCial, he scans as well, and he comes in just in time to protect it.
Yeah, ByuN playing so cautious right now. Rip that one SCV. Not sure what was going on there. And yeah, ByuN just does not want to take any unnecessary risks. He's going to siege well away from the tank range and just start punishing this planetary that's being made.
Exactly, and I'm sure SpeCial would have loved to have had that Liberator that he had earlier harassing across the map, and it does return, but so do the Vikings of ByuN.
That they do. And thanks to the Liberator tanking a couple of shots here from SpeCial's Vikings, ByuN going to be making it out of here with the aerial superiority, even starting to punish the CC again with these tanks.
Oh god, that he is. And oh look, SpeCial, he is looking to try and push him back with these Marines. Does manage to pick off a Viking here and there, and I love this, going for the counterattack as well.
Yeah, that is a massive amount of Marines going across the map, and I do have to wonder, does ByuN have anything here to defend? He has a lot here to defend.
Yeah,
he's got the tanks, but he doesn't even need to siege them up. That's a lot of Marines.
Yeah, ByuN, unlike SpeCial, he was not rallying across the map. Like, his production was here at home waiting for some kind of counterattack, and he does meet it, so his 4th base is up and running. It's actually established, and ByuN, he has to be careful not to be caught out. He does manage to unsiege just in time.
Yeah, he has lost the Viking wars over there. And so the Liberator actually doing a lot of damage. I mean, he has anti-air in the 4 Marines, but he does not want to send them too close to tank range.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it looks like SpeCial, he may be looking to transfer around, but he gets distracted because ByuN is looking to hit the 3rd.
And hit the 3rd, he does. A lot of Marines out, being pulled away for SpeCial. And ByuN, he sieged up his own tanks. Marines are starting to get thinned out left and right. Medivacs looking to go down. ByuN still has a tank siege, but it looks like SpeCial will win this fight, but at what cost? Cost of 10 SCVs at that 3rd base.
Yeah, we'll see, because ByuN, he's still ahead in supply. He's still ahead in army supply as well. That entire time he was macroing, like his 4th base was up and running perfectly. Like, his bases have been untouched, that is, for ByuN, and he's dealt so much damage to SpeCial. We'll see if he's able to clean this up. If he is, maybe he can go for a counterattack, but ByuN, he is not stopping. He's sending more of his army across. Oh, he's not. He's going back home.
Did you see that move with the Medivacs? Jumped right under the liberation zone, took out the Liberator, and immediately picked him up with the Medivacs. I should start doing that from now on. I don't have the APM or the automatically to do that, but I'm going to start doing it.
ByuN is one of the players that you look at is like, yo, that's amazing. I want to do that. And you know you can't, but like it's
trying, yeah.
It's inspiring though.
It very much is. There's just so much he does with Terran that I feel like a lot of people just didn't quite consider. Maybe some people were thinking, oh, that theoretically may be possible, but only ByuN is able to prove that.
Yeah. Definitely, and right now, SpeCial, his attention is being spread thin. I don't know if you saw that, but ByuN, he sneakily stepped a little bit forward with his tanks because he actually has that vision. He was able to take out the 3 defensive tanks of SpeCial, and now he's shelling away at that base.
Yeah, SpeCial now starting to move in. He has a really nice concave, but 4 tanks is pretty scary. Really good splits though here from SpeCial, but there's another army really punishing him. GG is called. This is why everyone's so hyped for ByuN. And this is why ByuN is going to be making it to the second semifinals in another TvT up against Dream.
Wow, GG. That was beautifully done by ByuN. Like, the way he was able to maneuver his armies, the way he was able to set up over on the left-hand side, the way he was able to counterattack and distract the army, and just no matter what he did, he was dealing damage somewhere, whether it was at the 4th base or the 3rd base. He was just tearing SpeCial apart. That was beautiful.
Very much was. That was inspirational. I'm gonna ladder tomorrow, even though I shouldn't. Even though I have other things to do, I'm gonna ladder tomorrow. I'm gonna try to do that. It's not gonna work out. It's not gonna work out too well for me.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's one of those things where for me, I think my counterpart to that, like, I don't think there's like a mechanically insane Zerg player. Instead, it's just like an inspirational Zerg player in a different way. Of course, I talk about Miyamika, right? It's the same kind of thing where you see him do these like insane things that you yourself can't do, right? It's like, it's still gonna work, you know? It just works for this one player for whatever reason. And yeah, ByuN, you know, is it too early to say that he's back? Maybe. He was able to take out Juanito. Now he's got his next Terran opponent. He has Dream to contend with.